You have a family history of dementia. I imagine it's scary, right?
Yes.
And it's one of those diseases you just don't want to get. It's like the C word or the A word.
Right, right.
And we were able to...
What was that biomarker that connects to dementia that...
places, and we did that for you. And one of the things you called me about later was your heart, and
Yes.
you got a bit of a scare. You want to talk about what that was and how we ended up figuring out what was going on, because I think it speaks to the importance of actually looking at your risk factors in a deep way that we did.
What if the man who once lit up the WWE ring and Hollywood screens is actually living a secret life that even his biggest fans don't know about? New footage pulls back the curtain on Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's everyday routine, showing the heart scare, the risk factor revelations, the Instagram follow drop, and the relentless grind that keep him alive and kicking. In this video, we dive straight into the untold story behind the headline. New footage reveals how The Rock really lives, and reveal exactly what it takes for a legend to stay legendary in the modern world. Get ready to see the real Rock beyond the catchphrases and the blockbuster hits, and feel the anticipation build as we uncover the truth. Dwayne Johnson once stood at the apex of stardom, a luminous beacon of hard work and charisma. His journey from the wrestling ring to the Hollywood screen was a story of relentless reinvention, a testament to the power of a crafted persona. Yet, beneath the polished veneer, cracks began to surface. A series of missteps, misread intentions, and moments of overreach that would challenge the very foundation of his myth. The transformation from a wholesome babyface named Rocky Maivia into the brash, confident champion known as The Rock was not merely a change of moniker. It was a deliberate pivot away from the manufactured hero and toward an archetype that could be both adored and reviled. Fans had once booed him, labeling him a fraud. But by embracing the swagger and audacity of The Rock, he turned that disdain into a driving force. The catchphrase, "Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?" became more than a gimmick. It was a declaration of his refusal to be confined by industry expectations. That audacious leap into a larger-than-life persona set the stage for his future ventures. Hollywood, however, proved a different arena. Early roles in The Scorpion King and The Rundown offered little depth, and critics dismissed him as a one-dimensional caricature. The road to mainstream success was far from smooth. It was in 2011, with Fast 5, that a turning point arrived. The character of Luke Hobbs, a witty, tough anti-hero, resonated with audiences and positioned Johnson as an action star capable of carrying a blockbuster franchise. Success seemed inevitable, but the same adaptability that had propelled him also sowed seeds of instability. When the public expects a performer to shift constantly, staying true to one's core identity becomes a balancing act fraught with danger. The fissures in his public image began to widen in 2016. An Instagram post criticizing unnamed co-stars on the Fate of the Furious set was interpreted as an affront to Vin Diesel, hinting at tension and demands for greater screen time. This moment shattered the perception of the amiable team player that many had idolized. Fans were left to grapple with the contradiction between the charismatic entertainer and the self-interested negotiator. The backlash was immediate. Comments accused him of hypocrisy, questioning whether the hero he portrayed existed at all. Even after the post was deleted and a peace offering video issued, the doubt lingered like a scar that could not be erased. The pattern of over-curated authenticity became more pronounced in later years. The repeated claims about never having visited In-N-Out and the subsequent first-time videos were perceived as manufactured moments of wonder. In a culture that prizes genuine, spontaneous experiences, such staged theatrics were seen as disingenuous. The very acts designed to reinforce relatability turned into evidence of a larger disconnect between the man and the image he cultivated. Perhaps the most damaging of all was the Maui wildfire fundraiser. The promotional video's tone was misaligned with the gravity of the disaster, and the attempt to capitalize on tragedy was quickly labeled tone-deaf. The public response was swift and unforgiving. The event exposed a vulnerability in the carefully constructed persona of benevolence, exposing gaps between celebrity actions and ordinary human empathy. In the age of social media, where every screenshot survives, trust can be lost in an instant and is difficult to rebuild. The underlying issue here is not merely a series of isolated missteps, but a broader symptom of the celebrity machine itself. The relentless pursuit of validation, the need to present a flawless image, and the pressure to continuously reinvent can erode authenticity. The R0ck's rise was fueled by an authentic narrative, a blue-collar worker who made it big. Yet, as he stretched the boundaries of that authenticity, he inadvertently built a facade so elaborate that it became fragile. The more he tried to be real, the more his portrayal felt fabricated. Rebuilding trust is a monumental undertaking. Each new revelation or exposed fabrication adds another wave of doubt that erodes the foundation of his reputation. The public's expectation of transparency clashes with the celebrity's desire for controlled storytelling. In this environment, the cost of missteps is amplified and the margin for error narrows. Nonetheless, the story does not end with a fall. The narrative of the R0ck is one that has always involved a dramatic arc. The question now is whether he can pivot toward authenticity, admit past mistakes, and reshape his image to align with the genuine hero he once represented. If he chooses to confront the gaps between persona and person, he may find a path back to the trust he once enjoyed. The journey ahead will be challenging, but it remains a testament to the enduring power of reinvention, if guided by honesty and humility rather than spectacle alone. The silence that now hangs over the former titan of the silver screen is almost palpable. Beneath the polished facade of his brand, his charismatic grin, his booming voice, there is a quiet melancholy that has begun to surface. It's in the tired smile he flashes on rare personal updates, the almost pleading look that glances over his camera lens. He's trapped, isn't he? Trapped by a gilded cage he built from a single desire, to be seen as unbeatable, infallible. The question everyone whispers in hushed tones is whether this is the beginning of the end, whether the era of the R0ck is finally drawing to a close. 4 years of unchallenged dominance feel like a single lifetime, a relentless march where every step was a declaration of strength. Yet the cracks that start to show are more than cosmetic. They reveal vulnerabilities that once seemed impossible to expose. The illusion that had been a wall of invincibility is beginning to crumble. One moment he stands at the pinnacle of Hollywood, the other he faces a torrent of criticism and doubt. It's a harsh reminder that even the biggest stars are ultimately human, subject to the same pressures, insecurities, and flaws as anyone else. This is a moment to reflect honestly on his journey. From humble beginnings to global icon, he built an empire on charisma, hard work, and undeniable charm. But somewhere along the line, he lost touch with what truly mattered. He chased an image, and that image consumed him. The R0ck's narrative had always been that of the underdog who rose to greatness, a living embodiment of the American dream. He embodied the dream that anyone could succeed through perseverance and grit. Yet the very pursuit that made him a household name also became a self-imposed prison, one that left his authentic self buried beneath layers of performative perfection. The story, however, isn't necessarily a tragedy. It's an opportunity for introspection, a path toward authenticity. It offers a chance to reinvent himself again. Could he pivot? Could he shed the layers of manufactured perfection and embrace the beauty of the imperfect? The new footage suggests that the answer lies not in a sudden return to his former persona, but in a deliberate step away from the stage that has defined his public life for decades. Breaking news across the entertainment world is that he is not retiring, but saying goodbye to Hollywood. The distinction is critical. He is not stepping down entirely. He is simply moving away from a platform that has been both a source of success and a source of scrutiny. His own words capture the nuance. "I am not retiring. I am saying goodbye." The choice is driven by a desire to live on his own terms, away from the artificial pressures that have weighed him down. He wants to reconnect with his roots, his family, and the community that has shaped him from the very beginning. He's looking for a life that isn't measured by box office receipts or brand endorsements, but by genuine, quiet fulfillment. His decision to say goodbye is also about reconnecting with the people he loves. He talks about family dinners that once seemed routine, but are now pivotal moments of joy and connection. He's looking to dedicate more time to the people who were always there, before the contracts that defined him. Philanthropic work has long been a part of his life, but now it takes on a new dimension, a sincere, unfiltered commitment to causes that matter to him personally. The same creative energy that once powered his wrestling days now channels into new projects that are personal rather than commercial, focusing on storytelling that reflects his own voice rather than the voice of a brand. Saying goodbye to Hollywood opens the door for creative ventures that have a more intimate reach. He's already begun to explore writing, producing, and directing content that feels less like a brand maneuver and more like a conversation with his audience. In this new era, he will spend his days in quieter, more personal spaces, perhaps cooking a meal in his kitchen or taking a quiet walk with his family. He has begun to share glimpses of his daily routine, an early morning workout that no longer feels like a stunt, a late-night conversation with a close friend about the state of the industry. These moments are raw and unfiltered, a departure from the polished brand he once curated. The impact of his legacy remains complex. His earlier publicized in-and-out videos, the myths about the 800-calorie breakfast and the 700-calorie post-workout smoothie, those controversies and debates will still linger. The leaked numbers and the memes that followed the Black Adam attempt, the fallout from the Joe Rogan appearances, the missteps with the Maui wildfire relief efforts, all these controversies have become part of the narrative that surrounds him. Yet, perhaps they are becoming acceptable as cautionary tales. They illustrate the pitfalls of living in a world where performance often outweighs authenticity, where the public's trust can be eroded by even a single misstep. And yet, for so long, R0ck was an aspirational figure. He embodied the American dream, the belief that anyone could overcome adversity. He built an empire from the ground up, turning his name into a brand that sold muscle, determination, and a sense of hope. Now, with his step away from Hollywood, that same brand of hope is taking on a different shape. It's no longer about being a celebrity, but about being a person who is willing to look at his own life, to admit the weight of a myth, and to move forward in a way that feels true to himself. There is a palpable sense of hope that this new chapter will bring peace to a man who has spent so much of his life in the spotlight. By choosing authenticity over performance, he invites his audience to see a different kind of strength, one rooted in vulnerability and honesty. His legacy may still be intertwined with the controversies and the legends he once promoted, but those elements are becoming part of the broader narrative that teaches us the importance of owning our stories. The world may still remember him as a titan of Hollywood, but it will also remember a man who, after years of being seen as unbeatable, chose to become something more relatable, more human, and ultimately more authentic. He sits at his kitchen table, the sunlight spilling across a stack of grocery receipts and a half-finished recipe book. The morning routine that once seemed like a staged spectacle has been stripped back to a simple rhythm: a kettle whistling, a mug of coffee cooling, and the quiet hum of a radio that plays nothing but local jazz. There is no longer a need to choreograph a sunrise workout for the cameras. Instead, the lift of the barbell feels like a personal conversation, an honest check against the weight he carries inside. The internet never forgets, but the weight of its memory can become a scaffold that both holds up and crushes. The In and Out Chronicles, the 8,000-calorie myth that spiraled into memes, and the rumors about steroid use have all become chapters in a story that fans can scroll back to with a swipe. Yet, behind the relentless cycling of commentary is a man who has long been a vessel for aspirational narratives. For years, the brand he cultivated was one of impossible determination, an embodiment of the American dream. But the cracks that appeared in the veneer are not a mere sign of aging, they signal a shift in the very foundation of his public persona. When he stepped away from the Hollywood glare, it wasn't an attempt to escape fame, but a deliberate step toward authenticity. The decision to halt promotional drives, no more flashy Instagram ads for tequila, no more walking billboards on a global stage, was an acknowledgement that the essence of his brand was no longer his own. It was a product built on carefully arranged images. The realization that a brand can outgrow its creator is a lesson that extends beyond Hollywood. The rock that once stood unbreakable had become a monument constructed on quicksand. Its foundation was being questioned by a public that had grown increasingly skeptical. The fallout from Black Adam, the backlash from the Joe Rogan interview, the perceived mishandling of Maui wildfire relief, all these incidents have been etched into the collective memory of fans, critics, and casual observers alike. Each misstep served as a reminder that even a figure with the reach of a global icon is not immune to human error. The narrative that once presented him as infallible began to erode, revealing a layered individual who is capable of learning, growing, and redefining himself. This recalibration has not been purely a strategic retreat. It is a candid pursuit of purpose beyond the box office and the wrestling ring. He has begun channeling his creative energy toward projects that speak to his own values rather than external expectations. The story of his new venture, an independent production company focused on underrepresented voices, speaks to an intention to give back and to craft narratives that reflect real, unfiltered human experience. The work he is producing is not about selling a product, it is about building a conversation with an audience that now recognizes his authenticity as a rare commodity. Family life has become his anchor, providing stability in a sea of fluctuating public opinion. In the intimate moments captured in the new footage, we see him laughing with his children while explaining how to balance a protein shake, how to read a comic book, or how to bake a loaf of bread from scratch. The presence of his family on screen is no longer a gimmick. It is a testament to the reality that his greatest triumphs are found in shared experiences and everyday resilience. The shift in his social media following reflects this larger philosophical pivot. Thousands of followers were lost within hours once the tone of his brand was questioned. That loss is not merely a number, it is a sign of disconnect, a signal that the public had begun to see a product separate from the creator. While studios may hesitate to invest in a potentially tarnished brand, the path to rebuilding trust is paved with accountability. By acknowledging his mistakes and taking responsibility, he demonstrates a form of leadership that is grounded in humility and courage. Rebuilding his legacy is no longer about recapturing the rock he once portrayed, but about embracing the person behind the persona. He has started to dismantle the empire he built on small lies and carefully curated myths, allowing the raw, imperfect human being to emerge. This process of deconstruction, of peeling back layers of artifice, is not merely a personal exercise. It is a public act that invites others to examine their own narratives. In a world saturated with manufactured icons and walking billboards, the power of genuine connection shines brightest. The new footage captures a different side of him. The quiet moments of contemplation in his backyard garden, the deliberate pause before a speech at a philanthropic event, the genuine laughter shared with a child while playing a card game. These scenes are not scripted, they are moments of real vulnerability. He is no longer attempting to be the rock, He is choosing to be Dwayne Johnson, the flawed, imperfect human with the capacity to inspire through truth rather than illusion. His legacy, therefore, takes on a new dimension. It is no longer measured by the number of blockbuster titles or the roar of a wrestling crowd, but by the sincerity of his actions and the integrity of his voice. When he walks into a room without a script, people sense that authenticity. That authenticity becomes the currency that can transform a legend from a manufactured icon into a relatable hero. The future of his story hinges on his willingness to own his past mistakes, to listen to criticism, and to rebuild trust from the ground up. In the end, the narrative that emerges is not one of a downfall, but of a rebirth, a renewed commitment to connecting with people on a human level. The new footage reveals that R0ck is living, breathing, and evolving in a way that invites others to do the same. This is his real legacy, a testament that even the most meticulously built empires can be transformed when anchored in truth, vulnerability, and shared humanity. The new footage, far from a stunt, pulls back the curtain on the man behind the moniker, revealing a relentless grind, a cascade of missteps, and ultimately a deliberate shift from spectacle to sincerity. As R0ck exits Hollywood's glare to reforge himself around family, community, and unfiltered storytelling, we're left to ask, can a legend's myth be rebuilt by embracing vulnerability? Or will the R0ck that once seemed unbreakable remain forever fractured? The answer may lie in the quiet mornings at his kitchen table, where the only weight he lifts is that of the truth he chooses to carry forward.